Evening, everyone. Happy Sunday, January 2nd. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the live stream for studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, and pretty much only true grassroots citizens group, actually, and only fighting absolutely for student loan justice. So I'm going to get right into it, folks. It's a new year. We kicked ass last year. Our opposition is freaked out. They weren't able to get the lending system turned back on come February 1st, and they are freaking out. The one thing that the student loan swamp people really want is to have money coming in. It's been 2 years, and they have not had any money coming in except for maybe $5 a month or something, or less than that, actually, probably $3.50 a month per account that the government has been subsidizing them with over the past 2 years. So they are freaked out, and they should be freaked out because they know what I know. And what I know is that this lending system is catastrophically failed. It's finished. It's toast. There is no saving it. In my humble opinion, there should be no saving it. This lending monstrosity needs to be thrown onto the scrap heap of failed U.S. policy experiments. People need to realize that. It doesn't matter who they are, what their opinions might be. Fact of the matter is, over half of all borrowers were not paying before the pandemic. Almost nobody is paying now. If and when they turn this lending system back on, very few people are going to pay. That is just a fact. The lending system is in its death spiral. Rigor mortis is setting in, and the longer they wait, the worse it's going to get for them. So we are seeing a ton of anti-borrower media out there right now. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out if you're watching us on Facebook. And if I can see your comments, I will gladly respond to them. So like, here's one example. Dan Bongino at Fox News. He seems to have made a little cottage industry about trying to portray student loan borrowers as elitist, liberal, young snowflakes who don't deserve loan. He would call it forgiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, all these people are very Dan Bongino and you name the quote unquote conservative pundit, you name the talking head that's talking smack about student loan cancellation, and I will show you a fool who is grossly mischaracterizing the problem. Here's what they want. What they want everyone to think is that student loan borrowers are these irresponsible liberal snowflakes. Here's the facts. 55%, by my best estimates, 55% of all student loan borrowers are either Republican, and that's like 43%, or independent, which is like 12%. So the majority of student loan borrowers are, I'm going to say, either center or right leaning. That's like 20 million Republican-leaning people who Dan Bongino would have us believe are a bunch of liberal snowflakes. It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. Here's another thing Dan Bongino doesn't know. I'm mentioning him only because we got into a little Twitter war earlier this morning, and I destroyed them. They quit responding. They had nothing meaningful to say. I think the last thing I saw from them was some sort of a meme about some kid pouting, and they were like, "We just wrecked you." And I was like, "No, you didn't. You didn't answer any of my accusations." Essentially, I said, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Dan Bongino. You're no conservative. You're fighting for the worst big government, college enriching, some would say socialistic lending scam in the history of this country. That's not conservative. That's the opposite of conservative. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You, Dan Bongino, ought to turn in your conservative card because you are fighting against your own people for the colleges and for a governmental agency, which is the worst predatory lender operating the worst predatory lending scam in U.S. history. So they got pretty quiet after that, I must say. But guys, I'm telling you, the haters are very easy to shut down. Here's the thing you need to know about the haters. In their mind, they think student loans, and they think what Dan Bongino would have them think. Liberal, elitist, young kids who overborrowed and don't deserve to have their loans canceled. I said earlier, 40% of all student loan borrowers never even graduated, I think. Millions of them went to trade schools. As I said, 55% are right-leaning or independent. But here's the critical point, guys. This is turning out to be one of the more important pieces of research we've done this year. The majority of student loan borrowers are over the age of 35. People over the age of 35 outnumber people under the age of 35 with student loans, and they owe far, far, far more. Similarly, people over the age of 50 outnumber people under the age of 25 with student loans. And again, they owe, well, in this case, they owe 300% more. The over 50 people owe 3 times more, higher debt than the under 25s. And people over 50 borrowed far less than the kids are borrowing today. So, yeah, Dan Bongino ought to be ashamed of himself, and he ought to either stop talking about this issue, or he better rethink his position on this issue. They were getting pretty insulting towards me then. I know this is kind of stupid, but I CC'd all our tweets, Twitter tweet things, to Fox News Research, to Tucker Carlson, who has been saying what I have been saying, to the War Room. So that's a different network, the Real American Voice. To Newsmax, to the United States Chamber of Commerce, to the GOP. I said, Dan Bongino is a liability to the GOP. He wags his fingers at the people being wrecked by these loans rather than the government and the colleges, socialistic colleges, Dan Bongino would agree, or at least he would think that, and thereby defends them. If I was a college, I would be sending Dan Bongino money. If I was the Department of Education, I would be funding that guy. So shame on that charlatan. And so we'll see where that goes. But here's another thing that our opposition is going to be saying, is already saying, will be saying a lot in the future. They claim that most of the debt is owed by high income borrowers. And that probably tends to be true, but it's not because of the reasons that they say. You know, they would say, oh, these people borrowed $150,000 to go to law school, and now they earn $200,000. They don't deserve to have their loans forgiven. Yeah, no, that's not it. The highest balance student loan borrowers are older people. They're people between the age of 35, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, sometimes, and up. Well, over 35. So obviously, older people just earn more money, statistically speaking. They just do. That's how the world works. But the fact that they owe triple what the under 25 crowd owes, that tells the tale. People over the age of, as I said, 50 did not borrow a lot of money. They've been wrecked by, they may earn more than younger people on average. That's true. But they have been wrecked by these loans for years or decades. Maybe the most clinching piece of proof is that even before the pandemic, 80% of all borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans. 4 out of 5 of all student loan borrowers were either not paying at all, that's over half, or like around 30%. They were paying and paying and paying, but their loan balances were going up, not down, up. So Dan Bongino can wag his fingers at the student loan borrowers all he wants. He can pretend that they're younger, liberal, elitists, etc. He can do that all he wants. And come the next election, what happened in Georgia is going to happen again. If the Republicans don't get their shit together on this issue and take the conservative side of this issue, which is to assign the blame to the government and the colleges who are getting rich from this obscene lending scam, then they will continue to alienate, obviously, everybody with student loan debt. And as I said, 55% of those people are either independent or Republican. So that's like 19 or 20 million right-leaning voters. That is stupid. And quite frankly, I would say up to this point, the Republicans, Dan Bongino and all that talking head crowd, and I don't count Tucker Carlson in that. I don't count other guys like Steve Bannon and others. A lot of conservatives have either spoken out on the right side of this issue, the true conservative side, or they've been quiet. And Steve Bannon, to his credit, has said not one word about student loans. Smart. Dan Bongino, not smart. So, yeah, people like Dan Bongino who like to wag their finger at the borrowers and titillate their borrowers, or their viewers, their audience, who don't know about the student loan problem. They only know that they hate liberal snowflake, gender studies majors who went to private school. Well, first of all, the liberal elites don't even get student loans. Remember that also. So Dan Bongino is a liability, and his friends are liabilities to the Republican Party. In fact, they are a liability to conservatism generally. And I would love to continue this argument with Dan Bongino, and I will destroy him, because the truth is on our side, not their side. But Dan Bongino is a little fish in a pretty little pond, actually, or maybe little fish in a big pond. I don't know, but it's not just Dan Bongino, guys. The whole entire student loan mafia, the whole apparatus, is freaked out right now, and we are going to be seeing a lot of attacks coming our way. It started about 3 weeks ago. It's going to get far, far worse. Now, we have to respond, guys. This is your battle. These are your loans. Are you going to sit back while these talking heads continue to fan the flames of these just ridiculous myths, these stereotypes? Are you a liberal snowflake? You probably are not. I'm sure we have a few liberal snowflakes. Nothing against liberal snowflakes, by the way, but I'm just saying, most people are not that, and most people should sort of resent being put in the same category with kids in their 20s. Most of us, certainly on this group, I think the average age is probably 42 or 3 or maybe even 44 at this point. So we've got to fight back, guys. We just do. It's really kind of an info war here. And, this is your battle and this is your fight. So here's the deal, guys. Here's what we need to do going forward. The most effective use of your time is to fight as hard as you can for our bill. Getting Republican senators to co-sponsor S2598 is absolutely critical. Getting Republican governors to look at the state of student debt in their state is absolutely critical. And in fact, for the first part of this coming week, starting tomorrow, we are going to be blitzing Republican governors and news media in red states across the country, but mostly the South and the Southeast, places like Texas and Florida and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Indiana and North Carolina and South Carolina, maybe even West Virginia, Missouri, states like that. We're going to be hitting the governors of all of those states. And basically, we're going to be saying something very simple. We're going to be saying, Governor, there is more student loan debt in your state than your state's entire budget. More student loan debt than your state's entire annual budget. How could you let your state, Governor, be conquered and enslaved by this predatory debt, this predatory federal debt? Shame on you. And we're going to make it stick, but we're going to need your help. You know, we've got 20,000 people on this Facebook group. We've got over 1 million people on our petition. We've got probably 1.1 or 2 million people across all of our platforms. You've got to start helping, guys. This is a new year, and our opposition is tripling down right now. Right now, this fight is getting very hot, and you can't sit back and you can't wait and watch and worry. You've got to get your knuckles dirty. A lot of people on this group are doing the hard work. If you're not, you need to get with it, because we need you, and we will be buried in this info war if you let us. Is that what you want? Do you want to spend the rest of your life dogged by this albatross around your neck? No, you don't. This is a battle that's easily won. I'm telling you. It was fun destroying Dan Bongino this morning. I enjoyed it, quite frankly. And it's not hard to do, guys. The facts are on our side. I will sit down with any conservative anywhere, anytime, and I will show them the way. Any true conservative should be squarely on our side. And remember, guys, no matter what the talking heads say or do, there's no saving this lending system. I mean, that's just a fact at this point. As I said, less than half of all borrowers were paying at all before the pandemic. I'm still looking for your comments, guys. I can't find the stupid fucking live stream. Pardon my French. Okay, there it is there. So, as I said, if you have any questions or comments, throw it out. I should probably keep it sort of short, though. I've already gone a little bit longer than I was intending. Gordon, you comment too much, buddy. You got to knock that off, pal. So, okay, you know what, Gordon? I'm going to read one of your comments. Your electoral assessment of GOP is correct, but the Democrats are slacking on this, and they may lose the House and Senate terms if they don't change course. Right. Yeah. The student loan issue has always been the what's the word? It's been the bad penny that nobody wants. The Republicans don't want to touch it. The Democrats don't want to touch it because they don't know how. Joe Biden made a bunch of false promises before the election, and that certainly won him the state of Georgia. Now he's having a hard time following through on his commitment. But, you know, if you think that those Democrats are going to all of a sudden start voting Republican, I don't think so. Unless the Republicans have something to offer, like a conservative solution, like canceling the lending system and defunding the colleges, which is what a true conservative would be calling for. Democrats, they're not going to vote for a Republican. They'll probably just not vote at all. That's probably the most likely outcome. Or they'll vote third party. And I strongly recommend people vote for any candidate who's fighting for us, regardless of party. We on this group don't care about parties. We are fiercely nonpartisan. In fact, we pretty much hate both parties. And that is as it should be, because both parties suck. And they've allowed this issue and us and our lives and our livelihoods to fall between the cracks. So, yeah, guys, we got this, but we're going to need you to help us fight. I would hope very much that you would go to our website and look at the daily actions that we do. This coming week is going to be especially important. It's the first week of the new year. And dude, I am telling you guys, I can smell it. I can sense it. We've been doing this. I've been doing this for 16 years. I can tell when the opposition is about to unleash a huge attack against us. And that's, in fact, already started. They are not going to go down without a fight. So you need to get into this game. It's a fight easily won when everybody shows up to fight it. And So you have no excuse. We are the pioneers, guys. This group right here is far more important than you may realize. We are the group that introduced the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the public conversation with our petition that has now nearly 1.1 million signatures. We are the group that caused S2598, the Senate bankruptcy bill, to be introduced and hopefully soon passed. That started with us, guys. So, we are the tip of the spear in the battle for student loan justice. In fact, in many ways, we are the whole spear. There's a lot of fakes out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a lot of people out there, bad people. In fact, the student loan industry hires people, at least they certainly did in the past, who would come and fight against bankruptcy and try to pit bankruptcy against loan cancellation. Most important point I'm going to make to you tonight from a policy perspective, guys, we are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Loans will not be canceled meaningfully until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. So fighting for S2598 is the number one thing that we have to do. And don't let anybody sell you trying to pit bankruptcy against loan cancellation. A lot of very dishonest people are trying to cast bankruptcy as being opposed to student loan cancellation. That's not true. They are compatible. And in fact, the one, cancellation, depends on the other, bankruptcy. So this bill, S2598, is absolutely critical, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to fight for it with every fiber of our being. It's a great bill right now. That could change. We don't want it to change. We want the bill to pass, and we are going to need your help. So if you've been on this group for any amount of time and you haven't been doing anything, it's time for you to resolve to spend some very serious time this year helping us. And remember also, guys, this is a little prop, but what's coming is this. Slexit. Just take that in for a minute. Okay, a lot of people talk about a student loan strike or a student loan boycott. No. That's nonsense. What we're talking about is a massive payment stoppage. It's not a strike. It's not a boycott. It's not like we're going to resume paying when our demands are met. No. This is a debt deletion. This is the death. This is the evaporation into a mist of illegitimacy of the federal student loan system. Now, that's going to happen. There is no way that's not going to happen. Whenever they try and turn this lending system back on, very few people are going to pay. We are going to see a mass default. And by the way, in my humble opinion, nobody should pay. In my humble opinion, it is both unwise and unpatriotic to ever pay another dime back on your federal student loans. Don't feed the beast. That's my opinion. Take it for what it is. However, it could get ugly. It could get very ugly. We are going to see a mass default. And how much better would it be for you and for me and everybody else who is not paying, not going to pay? How much better would it be for us all if the collection mafia doesn't have the sort of unconstitutional power to abuse that they do now? With bankruptcy, with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, that at least gives us a little bit of power in that equation. Because believe me, the student loan collection industry is literally drooling at the prospect of having a massive default. And so for every reason, and by the way, there's a lot of student loans that the president cannot cancel by executive order. So regardless, we've got to get bankruptcy rights back. That's the one thing that's been missing all of these years, and the one thing that has enabled this big government lending monstrosity to continue. So we've got a great bill, guys. S2598 is super strong. Dick Durbin is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. The bill has 2 Republican co-sponsors, which is a very interesting and new development for the bills that we've had in the past. We are a fiercely nonpartisan group, but historically the Republicans in Congress have opposed us. So this bill is on Hot Wheels. It's got the juice. It's got the votes that it needs to get all the way through the Senate. And so we've got to fight. We've got to fight, guys. We've got to fight for this bill. Our opposition is not weak. They are strong, and they will snow the public if they can. We can't let that happen. So the last thing I'm going to say tonight, guys, for the next month, every day, I want you to go to our website and I want you to go to our daily actions. There usually takes literally 30 seconds or a minute. It's usually like Twitter stuff. So get a Twitter account if you don't have one. And for the next month, every day, go and do our daily actions. Daily actions. Right now, while you're sitting around thinking about it, do the past month worth of our daily actions so that you can get up to speed. One very final thing I'll say is check out our Medium page. We've published 5 articles in the past like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Studentloanjustice.medium.com. The top 4 or 5 articles on there are extremely important. Please clap, give many claps to all of them, but more importantly, share them. Share them to people who you think should read them. Be creative, be clever, be smart. You know, the one thing that we have going for us, guys, is we've at least been to college, so we have to be at least slightly smart, right? So be creative, be clever, come up with something. Think out of the box. Join your state chapter, which again, you can do at the website. But at least do that first thing I just said, and it will help us get rolling so that we can truly, God willing, make student loans a thing of the past. This year, 2022, I want these loans gone. Do you not want these loans gone? I hope you want these loans gone. If you do, then what I just said for the past 24 minutes is the path that we need to be on. We know what we're doing, guys. We've made almost all the mistakes. We're not making any mistakes anymore from here on out. So hang with us and we will win. As I think Benjamin Franklin said, we can either hang together and win, or we can hang separately. So I choose that first thing, not that second thing. I hope you agree. If you have any questions about this group, just Google us. You can see all the stuff we've done since 2006. This is it, guys. You came to the right place. We're glad that you found us. So let's get this done. Let's make this the best week ever for student loan justice. Have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good luck. Godspeed. Get ready for this. God bless everybody.